Kickass WiTCH, putting the K in magic. I'm Joanna DeVoe, and you are watching my very first BiZ WiTCH video for the BiZ WiTCH page on my website. What is a BiZ WiTCH? A BiZ WiTCH is someone who is following their bliss and starting their own business online, or just someone who works from home. And yes, it's a term that I made up, but I like it and I'm sticking to it. So if you think that you might be a BiZ WiTCH, stick around for my top 10 tips for starting your own business with little to no money using just the free or almost free resources available online. Tip number 1 is to create a business on purpose, a business that is totally in alignment with who you actually are, who you are when no one's looking, who you are with your closest friends and family. Because running your own business from home can be a little challenging in that there's nobody telling you what to do every day, and you really have to be self-motivated. So it's important to pick a business that you are just naturally already in alignment with. And the 2 questions I think that you can ask yourself to get to what it is you think that your purpose might be here on planet Earth, and I think we all might have multiple purposes. I'm not saying this has to be your one end-all be-all purpose, but a purpose that you feel strongly connected to and that you think that you can do year after year after year. And the first question would be, how are you already being of service? And I don't mean like in the last couple of weeks, I mean for the trajectory of your entire life. What do people turn to you for and rely on you for? Does your family call you up when they need a really cutesy drawing for an invitation? Do your friends feel like they can call you in the middle of the night because they're feeling brokenhearted and they feel like they can confide in you or that you'll have some good advice for them? Are you like a whiz with taxes? What is it that you're already doing that people value? Multiple people, something that pops up again and again in your life. And the other question is, if you had all the money and resources in the world, what would you do with your time? What do you do when time kind of gets away from you? Like, what do you get so wrapped up in that you're not even aware of the clock? What do you do when you're procrastinating on all of the other stuff that you should be doing? That is a very good indication of what your purpose might be. And if you can combine that thing with what it is that people come to you for, how it is that you're already being of service in the world, I think you have a great formula for starting your own business. Tip number 2 is to get yourself a free blog. Free! My favorite 4-letter word. Go to Tumblr, Blogspot, also known as Blogger, or WordPress, and sign up to get your own free blog. They are highly customizable these days, and you can make a very pro-looking website for free. Tip number 3, buy your own domain name. You can go to GoDaddy.com and get your own domain name for $10. $10, that's it, $10 a year to own yourname.com. I also recommend owning the nameofyourbusiness.com and as many names.com as you think apply to your business. Any names that you think you might need in the future. And the reason for that is because there are people that actually go around buying up these domain names for $10 and then they just kind of sit on them and hold them until someone like you comes along and needs them, and then they can charge you whatever they want. And you either have to pay it or come up with something else. So at least make sure that you own your own name. And these blogs that I mentioned, Tumblr, Blogger, WordPress, they all allow you to replace their URL with your own. So it's very nifty. It's something that you can do in one afternoon, and it's cheap, almost free. Tip number 4 is to have an opt-in box placed prominently on your website that captures visitors' emails. You can, like me, offer them something free in exchange. When people sign up for my newsletter, I give them a free copy of my ebook, Hippie Witch, Peace, Love, and all that good shit. And it's not some little like throwaway item that doesn't mean anything. It's something I put a lot of heart and effort into, and it really is on theme with my brand. But regardless of whether you give away a free gift or not, make sure you have that opt-in box and let them know that they are signing up to get your newsletter. And the reason that you want to do that is because most people aren't going to buy from you and hand over the dollars the first time they visit your website. You need to develop a relationship with people, and you need to develop trust. And if they let you into your inbox, I highly recommend that you treat that with respect. People's inboxes are so stuffed full of newsletters and spam and, you know, pictures from their family these days that it's really important that you don't clog up their inbox with a bunch of spammy crap, or they're just going to unsubscribe from your newsletter. So make sure that you treat them with respect, the respect that they deserve, and that you treat it as an honor that they are inviting you into their inbox. It's kind of like them inviting you into their home. You want to be respectful. And number 5 is to be consistent. And that goes for everything from the look of your website. You want your newsletter, your website, your social media, you want it all to match. You want the fonts and the color schemes and the tone to match, to tie in. That's called branding. You want really strong branding because, again, people are just inundated with information and images these days. So you want them to be like, oh, pink, orange, and yellow. That's Joanna. I know. You know, they recognize you immediately because you're consistent with your branding and with the look of things. The same goes with your message. You want to be really consistent with your message. If you're selling dog food, you don't all of a sudden want to be sending out a newsletter about the apocalypse and how we're in the end times, unless somehow you can magically tie that into dog food. Buy our dog food, it's the end of the world, stockpile now, in saying this, I think it's a really good idea to schedule your newsletter so people come to predict when they're going to get it. I send mine out every full and new moon, and so people are getting my newsletter every 2 weeks. Some people send it out once a week. My friend Suzanne Michelle, she sends one out every time she makes a new video. So that's just something to keep in mind as well. Number 6, be original. I think that if you're truly being yourself and being authentic, that this won't be a problem for you. But a lot of people, when they start their own businesses, they want so badly to be professional and to do the right thing that they end up like copying other businesses that they admire. And this is something that is so bad for the whole industry. It's bad for the people that you're copying. It's bad for you, especially if the people that you're copying have a nice big following. They're going to see you and be like, okay, like we know who you're a fan of, and probably the person that you're copying is going to get annoyed. But more than that, you're just kind of watering down your industry, and it doesn't serve you very well because people don't know why you're special. What makes you special? If you're just another life coach, you know, you need to differentiate yourself for a multitude of reasons. For example, when I think of crystals, I think of Hibiscus Moon and her Crystal Academy. This woman has branded herself so beautifully. She offers a great service, and as far as I know, there's only one Crystal Academy, and I hope a bunch of copycats don't come out. If you go to Etsy or even YouTube, there are so many people that have crystal shops, and they all just kind of look alike, and many of them have not differentiated themselves from each other at all. So if you're going to get into a field like that, if you want to sell crystals, or if you want to be a life coach, something that is already pretty popular and trendy right now, you need to find a way that is special, that differentiates you from other people. And that also applies to the look of things. For example, I make videos in front of this funny little pink and orange background, and I add in little funny sound effects to help me make my point. So don't go start making videos in front of your pink and orange background and adding in funny sound effects and calling yourself Kickass Bitch. Because I'll come find you. I'll hunt you down, I swear. Tip number 7. Social networking can be your best friend or your worst enemy. And what I mean by that is when you are on a social networking site like Facebook, Twitter, Pinterest, YouTube, you are representing your brand. You are your brand ambassador. So make sure that in addition to socializing with people, you can be a little more casual on social media sites. But make sure that in addition to that, that you are consistently putting out messages that resonate with your brand and that you are conducting yourself like a professional. Do not get into fights with people online. Do not be overly defensive, because that will show up in Google searches for your name or for your business name, and you will definitely hurt your business because you got into a war of words with somebody, or because you were talking about all your haters out there. People don't want that. They want to do business with somebody that they like, who is friendly, and somebody that they can trust is stable and not going to like fly off the handle because somebody disagreed with them, or even maybe somebody was mean to them online. If you put yourself out there enough, eventually you are going to get people hating on you and saying mean things about you, and you really just have to learn to suck it up. If it's something that they've said on your website or your YouTube channel or your Facebook page, you can delete them and block them. If it's something that they're saying elsewhere and you don't have control over deleting and blocking them, you can very calmly address the situation in a friendly way that hopefully makes you look classy and makes them look assy, and you can move on having left an impression that works for your business rather than works against you. Tip number 8 is to learn marketing before you invest whatever money you have in advertising. So instead of engaging in traditional advertising where you pay to place ads for your business on the internet, or you engage in Google AdWords or Facebook ads, learn how to market your business for free. Marie Forleo says that she didn't spend a dime on advertising until this year, and I know that she started her business in 2010, so that means that for more than 2 years she built up this huge, awesome brand that most of us know and love, based purely on marketing. And that's a whole other video in terms of sharing some tips for marketing, but I will say it involves guest blogging on other people's blogs, finding ways to be in collaboration with someone that you think has a company that is compatible with yours and not competitive. So maybe you trade services, maybe you trade promoting each other's businesses, or you join forces and you package a product together so that you both get to access each other's customer base. Or you can go on to websites where people are asking questions that pertain to your business and start answering those questions, making sure that you link back to your website, or at least that your username represents your website, so that people can be like, hey, I think she knows what she's talking about, and go to your website to get more information. Number 9 is very important for your mental health, and that is to batch your tasks. Because eventually, after you've been going for a while, your inboxes are going to start going crazy. And you need to answer people's comments on all the different social media sites and answer people's emails. And then that can just keep you at your computer all day long so that you don't have a life. And it's really important that you have a life in order to have a successful business. Otherwise, you're just going to burn out and you're going to start making a lot of sloppy mistakes. So set aside certain times of the day and a certain amount of time for answering your emails and answering comments, and then when that time is up, close your computer and go do something else. Spend time with your family, do the dishes, exercise, go to a party, do what you gotta do, but don't be a slave to your inbox. Batch your time. You will thank me later, I promise. And tip number 10 is to learn as much for free online as you possibly can. I'm going to include a list down below of my 10 favorite business gurus online, people that I have learned a ton from, and a lot of what I've learned from them, I've learned for free because they do a lot of interviews. They do free teleseminars sometimes, or they will have their own podcasts, or like Marie Forleo, she has her own YouTube channel. In order to have a good business, you really have to give free information away these days for people to know what you're all about. So this is a good way to learn kind of the basics and to learn how do you feel about somebody before you go invest in some fancy expensive program that they have. So I recommend, if you're interested in someone, go to Google, put their name in quotations, and then put maybe like interview next to them outside the quotations, and see if anything comes up and see what information you can glean. Read their websites, watch all of their videos, listen to every podcast, and take notes. And I'm gonna guess that you learn a heck of a lot that way. And again, like I said, it's not just to get as much free stuff as you can for somebody and then like move on, because if you've learned a lot, these people obviously are holding something back, and that's what you can learn in the courses that they offer. But then you're going to have a really good idea of what their philosophy is and what their style is, and if it's worth it to you to part with your dollars over whatever they're offering. And hopefully you learned something about running your own business in the meantime. So I hope this was helpful to you, and I will be making more BiZ WiTCH videos as time goes on. Probably not all the time, but every now and again I love to learn and then turn around and share with you whatever it is that I've learned. And since I plan on being in biz for quite a while, I'm not going anywhere anytime soon. So until we meet again, much love. Peace.